up, everybody? Travis Foreman here with TLF Creative Photography. Wanted to do a quick tutorial for you on how to edit a sunset photo in Lightroom. Now, I have this photo here. I took this photo in Perryville, Maryland, right along the Susquehanna River back in June of 2017. It was a great night. There was a lot of color in the sky. I really lucked out. There was nobody in that area that night. Not a lot of boats going by. It just worked out really perfectly. So I want to show you something here before I start everything. I'm going to pull my exposure down. Now, it was close to 8:30 at the time, maybe even 8:45 when I took this photo. There's still a lot of overexposed area here. And that's just because of the fact that the sun is still casting quite a bit of glow as it's going down over the horizon. We're going to correct all that in Lightroom, and I'm going to show you how to do it. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here to my lens correction area. I'm going to enable my profile corrections. And I'm going to go into remove my chromatic aberrations. I'm going to just do a little bit of defringing here. And I'm going to go from there. There shouldn't be too much purple fringing or anything like that, just because of the time of the evening. And everything looks good. Now, I shot this photo with my Canon 6D using my 16 to 35 millimeter lens at about 21 millimeters. That was my focal length. So I'm going to crop this photo in quite a bit, really because I'm not too thrilled about this pole in here. It's got a weird angle to it. It just doesn't look good. So I'm going to pull this all in. I'm going to use the back of the horizon here. It's kind of a leveling point. Putting a lot of focus right in this area here on the boardwalk. So, you know what? Actually, let's pull this down just a little bit more, using that part of the bridge right there to kind of level everything out. And we're going to start right there. I may go back, but we're going to start right there for now. Okay. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to switch that. Okay. Pull this over just a little bit. Sorry, I can be a little meticulous here. All right, I'm happy with that. This is a good starting point. Now, before I really get into editing this photo, I want to point out that I'm going to put this photo up on social media, and I'm really editing this right now for the purposes of putting this video together. You're going to see me doing a lot of things with brushes and filters. If I were going to blow this photo up quite a bit, I would go in here and I would spend a lot of time on the bridge, the boardwalk, really going on all over all the detail with my brushes. But for the purpose of time, I'm going to just do this really quickly just to give you an idea of what you can do with the power of Lightroom when you're trying to edit a sunset. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull my shadows up just a little bit to about plus 50. I'm going to pull my highlights down quite a bit here. And you're going to start seeing a lot of detail come back into the photo. I'm going to pull my shadows back to about 40. Now I'm going to go down here to my whites. If I hold down the Option key on a Mac, if you hold down an Alt key on the Windows machine and hit your mouse right here over top of the slider, everything's going to darken out. I'm going to pull it up a little bit till I see just a little bit of white. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my blacks. Okay, I like where this is at right now. So I'm going to add some contrast here, about plus 15. I'm going to add a little bit of clarity, just to pull up a little bit of that detail. And now I'm going to dive down into here. I'm going to go into my sharpening tool, and we're going to go to about plus 5 sharpening. If you hold Option, again, Option or Alt key, hold that down, I can just use my mask slider here, and it's just going to really just kind of pull all that detail forward there with some masking, sharpening. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of noise reduction. And the reason I'm doing this right now is because sometimes you get so involved in doing the other editing that you just kind of forget about this little area right here, and you shouldn't. So I'm going to go back up in here, and I'm going to start working on the sky. So this is a graduated filter. I'm going to pull this down. And I apologize I did not have it zeroed out, but you kind of get the idea here. I want all of this to be a little bit darker. I'm going to pull it up quite a bit. I don't want too much of the bridge or the horizon or even the boardwalk in here. Now, what I can do is hit the brush, go to erase, and I can just start really lightly erasing all of this stuff in here. that this graduated filter is taking down. Not too much, just a little bit. I don't want the bridge. I don't want too much of that darkness over the bridge. So that's where we're going to go from there. I like where I'm at. So, alright, so I'm going to go back to my filter here, and I'm going to pull my exposure back up just a little bit. Take away that overlay. Go down through here. Now you see I'm starting to pull out a lot more of that detail. Alright, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Pull it off to the side to darken this area a little bit here and pull a lot of this back up. I'm going to do the same thing with my brush. I'm going to go to the erase here, and I'm going to erase it away from the area of my boardwalk because I'm going to be doing some other stuff there with that. Alright. Now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Pull my exposure up just a little bit. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I want these areas in here to be nice and dark, to bring back out some of that detail. Now, I'm going to pull this up through here. Oops, sorry. Sometimes that happens. Go up there to edit and undo, and now you're good to go. So, let me first zero back out my effect. Alright, I'm going to pull my graduated filter up through here. I'm going to pull my exposure back down in here just a little bit because I'm going to put a little bit more focus in some of these areas. But I want you to focus really on this part of the photo, so that's what I'm going to do there. Now, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take my local adjustment brush, and I'm going to raise my exposure up. For right now, we'll say about 70. And I'm just going to really lightly paint right through this area here, just to kind of create like a path almost, to really just draw your eye into this boardwalk area. So as I do that, I'm just going to real lightly do that. Now I don't want this exposure that high. I'm going to pull the exposure back down to about 40, 35, 40, somewhere around that range. And I'm going to add a little bit of temperature to it because I want to bring out some of that color that's in that boardwalk too. So I'm going to pull out just a little bit of temperature, bring up a little bit of the color there. Okay, so I like that. Now I'm going to grab my local adjustment brush again. If I hit spacebar, I can zoom in the stuff. Now, I want to zero back out my effect. If you want to do that, you just go ahead and hit effect, double click it on here. It zeroes everything back out. This time I'm going to hit the mask overlay. Now, what I'm going to start doing this time, I'm just going to really lightly just start painting areas in the photo that I kind of want to pop out a little bit, but not too much. Now, again, as I said before, if I were going to have this framed, I would really do a lot of detail in this. I would put a lot of work into this and a lot of time. But for the simple fact is, if I put that video up on YouTube, it's going to be quite a bit of time, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I know that you want to get out there and edit some of your photos, so I'm going to try to help you out here. Alright, so I'm going to go over the bridge, use my local adjustment brush here, and just kind of real lightly paint some of these areas here. Again, if you start spilling over, you can always take your little eraser brush and just kind of very, very lightly correct that. Okay. Alright, so I kind of like that. Now, what I'm going to do here, sorry about that. Alright, what I'm going to do, I'm going to raise my exposure up on these to about 35. Somewhere in that range. Now, I'm doing that just to bring a little bit of color, bring a little bit of lightness to the bench, the poles, and as well as the bridge there, because this is a really cool bridge. It's got a lot of detail in it, and while it's not my main focus of the picture, I still want it in there. Now, one of the things I want to show you in here, you're talking June in Maryland, so it's hot, there's a lot of humidity, and you get a lot of a hazy effect. So one of the cool features in Lightroom, if you go down here to your post-crop vignetting, some of your effects down in here, there's a dehaze tool. Now, if you put it up really high, it can make your photo look very ridiculous. But you know what? I'm just going to put it up to about +5. That just helps bring out some of that, takes away some of that haze. Now, I'm going to give you an idea what we're working with so far. That's our before and that's our after. We're not quite finished with the photo. what I want to do next is I want to go down to my split toning section. I'm going to take my saturation, I'm going to pull it up to about 10, and you can just start kind of playing with your sliders here. You can add all kinds of different colors to your highlights, whatever you want to do. I'm going to stay right around the reds and the yellows because of it being a sunset photo. So I'm going to pull it up to about right there. I'm going to do the same thing with my shadows, and I'm going to pull those up to about 10 as well. Now, I'm actually going to pull these back down to about 8 because I don't want it to be too crazy. I don't want it to be too overwhelming. So I like the colors that we're going with here. Now, I'm just going to do a quick thing with these. This is your spot removal tool. The little thing up here with the little arrow, the little circle with the arrow. If you hit your space bar, you can zoom in. You're going to see that there's birds everywhere in this photo, and it tends to happen. When you're taking a sunset photo, and you're trying to do a long exposure at the same time, especially on the river, there's just birds all over the place. If I go down to here to hit visual spots, sorry about that, again. If you go down here to visual spots, you'll see that there's spots all over the place. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to go back through here on every single one. I'm just going to give you an idea of what you can do. A lot of photographers will dive into Photoshop for this portion. I really like using it in Lightroom. The spot removal tool works really well. And there's little things in the photo that I just don't want in there. Okay, I just wanted to give you an idea of what you can do with that. So it's really the last part of the photo that I'm going to do before I put it out on the web. So gives you an idea. The spot removal tool works really, really great. Now, one of the things that I want to do is I really like the detail that's up here in these railings on this boardwalk. So I'm going to really lightly, I'm going to pull my exposure up to about 35, 38, and I'm just going to real lightly go down through here and just lighten up parts of this boardwalk. And I'm doing this, again, to just kind of bring your eye to this area. If I go down here, sorry. Okay, I like that. Now, I'm going to tone it down just a little bit. I just want it to be there slightly. Now, this is the basics. This is what you can do in Lightroom. As you saw in the before image, there's a lot of lost detail there. Now, this is straight out of the camera. What you're seeing to the before is straight out of the camera. And what you're seeing to the after is everything that you can do in Lightroom. Now, you're not faking everything. You're not changing it around. This is what your eye sees, and you're just bringing it back out because the detail is there. Lightroom is an amazing, amazing tool, and there's so many other applications that you can dive into, but for the sake of this video, this is what we're going to do right now. I just wanted to show you some of my basics on how I like to edit a sunset photo. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, please subscribe. Check out, I'm going to post this photo on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please like and follow me on those pages. And please subscribe. Look forward to posting some more videos for you here on YouTube. And please bear with me. I'm still new to the YouTube family, so this is going to be a new experience for me. I absolutely love sharing my work with the world, and I really hope that you like it. Have a great evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in.